Today, we want to answer a question, and that question is, should you buy an E46 in the year 2025, which is 25 years?
Something like that.
Something like that.
We're close.
They're old.
Yeah.
They're old now.
They're out of college. They have their master's degree.
Yeah.
They're career driven.
Yes. Yeah. And we're going to find out if you should drive one. So let's get to it. Okay, so this is my 2002 BMW 330xi. I went for the all-wheel drive version because it was a 330 and it was $1,500. So
he wanted a BMW Subaru.
Yes, I am a Subaru guy at heart. I drove them forever. I miss them, something dear. And I wanted to see what the Euro version of it was all about. And so I got this car and have been living with it for the last year. I've put probably twice as much of that $1,500 into it to get it running right and doing all that stuff. And now it is, and I am, and we are, and we're in the mountains enjoying it, which is just where they shine.
Yes,
like,
the whole point of all.
Yes. Exterior. This is one of my favorite body styles ever. Like, these come in sedan, coupe, and convertible, and wagon. Actually, the wagon's probably the best, but they are very, very rare.
The design language is just great. You know, it's a compact sedan, but you don't have to get the M car to experience like the cool features. The fender flares on the front, they stick out. The quarter panels, they stick out. So it has a lot of presence. It's a short and wide car, and you don't see that very often these days. And that's kind of like the whole ethos of this car is it's just something cool now.
Yes, this car used to be regular traffic. You know, there was E46s everywhere. They were kind of a dime a dozen.
A couple million.
Yes, million. Yeah, they made well over 1 million of these things worldwide. Yeah, they were everywhere. And so they weren't that special. You know, if you didn't have an M car, it's like, who cares? But nowadays, they are much fewer and farther between, just because, you know, when you don't keep up with the maintenance and you crash them, and, you know, like there's, you know, you just don't see them as much anymore. And cars have gotten so much bigger and so much kind of blobbier that when you see one of these, it does stand out like as something special, which is like even a base model one is something to stare at these days, which is really cool. This is a 5-speed manual. Another reason why I got this, I was coming from an IS300 that was an automatic, and it just made me super sad being an automatic. 5-speed manual and slick top. There's no sunroof, you know, like lower center of gravity. I really do like that. This interior has held up pretty well. We have done some repairs. You know, I upgraded this interior with the sport seats, you know, from the premium package of this car. I put a ZSP steering wheel on it, new shift knob, and then kind of refreshed some of the plastics. But for the most part, this is all held together very, very, very well. Not very many creaks and rattles. You know, everything that you're touching is soft touch. They put the hard plastics down like by your feet. A lot of those plastic lines on new cars are up like at the dashboard.
Yeah, and sometimes it is the dashboard.
And sometimes
too.
it is the dashboard.
Yeah, they just don't care.
Yeah, still feels like a very premium product. And, you know, like in this one, it's lived a long life, I want to say. I have 217,000 miles on this car. I think I bought it from a teenager who bought it from a teenager. Like it
shows.
Yeah, it's had a hard life. But even with that being the case, you know, we had to do some reupholstering on the pillars and stuff like that. But for the most part, it's all back. It feels very comfortable. It's one of the nicest places interiors I've been in all the mini cars that I've owned. So yeah, I really, really like the interior.
And I think one thing that is cool about the quantity of cars or E46s that were made is there are so many different interior combinations that came out on this vehicle. There's any type of wood grain, metal, seats, colors, and that's been kind of the fun part about this car. The interior was kind of low option. It has like a silver trim, so it doesn't have any wood. but it was easy to look online and, oh, here's black sport seats, plug and play.
Yep.
Oh, here's this cool 3-spoke steering wheel, pretty much plug and play. This interior is like a big old Lego set.
Yes.
You can change the color, you can change the feeling of it, and it's like endless options.
Yeah.
I've never seen that before.
Yeah. They are relatively reliable for what they are. Like, you know, like this, engine wise, insane. Like, you know, this thing has 217,000 miles on it and counting. I daily drive it. The engine feels very balanced. It hums, you know, it pulls the red line every day, no problem. That's really, really, really nice. The plastics around the engine are the things that kind of will create problems, you know, specifically the cooling system. There's a expansion tank that has a habit of just going kaboom, hoses, thermostats, you know, stuff like that. Like, you know, things that you should, if you get one of these cars, you should address pretty much immediately.
Like number one.
Right.
Yeah, that is just the first thing you do pretty much with any of these early 2000s BMWs is just don't even care about anything else. Get the cooling system addressed. Even if it looks fine, just redo it. Give yourself that peace of mind. Use quality parts.
Yep.
And that should save you some headaches down the line.
Yes, that's the number one thing that's going to make these things reliable for you for, you know, long term, like right off the bat. Like, it's a peace of mind that is really, it's worth it. It's worth it. Other than that, like, it's rubbers and plastics. You know, like, we replaced all the bushings underneath the car, which makes it feel much more new, robust. You know, like not so shaky motor mounts. You know, things like it'll get tired, and a lot of that vibration will come into the cabin, into the wheel. But it is addressable. Like, there's a reason I got this car for $1,500, but you know, I feel like we've rectified pretty much everything, you know. Other than like a slight leak from the oil pan gasket, it's rock solid. It's really, really, really nice.
Yeah, it's like the big three. You have your valve cover gasket, your oil filter housing gasket, and your oil pan gasket.
Yes.
Once you address those three things, you should have a pretty rock solid engine. You shouldn't experience leaks. But the oil pan one is definitely the most time consuming because it does require you to drop your subframe, and that's a lot of work for a gasket.
Yeah.
So if it's leaking, it's not the end of the world, but that's usually the one that is neglected the most.
Yeah. So I think the main question, like why we are filming these videos, should you buy one of these in 2025? And I think it's a resounding, it depends.
Of course. Yeah, you can't give a solid answer with a BMW.
Yes.
It's a toxic relationship.
Yes.
When it's bad, it's bad, but when it's good, it's good.
That I couldn't say it any better than that. They can be very dependable and last a very long time, but you do need to pay attention to it. You do need to check up on it. You do need to make sure that you don't have leaking coolant, that that there is still oil in it. It's not all over the floor. It's a bit more involved as a driver experience, you know, like, so I would, if you are willing to get under the hood, do some maintenance, you know, if you're comfortable doing minor to moderate maintenance, I think, you know, like, you could have a very, very fun time with one of these cars, you know, like, if you like to tinker, these things will always give you something to tinker on. There's always something to do.
And it's a great learning tool. Most of the steps to get stuff replaced is pretty straightforward. It's right in front of you. You don't have to go digging for stuff. So it's a good, I wouldn't say absolute beginner mechanic car, but if you have a little bit of experience doing some things here and there, it's definitely rewarding if you do like that kind of stuff. If you just want to kind of keep an old car running and you want to, you know, show that you can keep an old BMW on the road, for sure, it's not that hard, and the problems are very well documented. You need to replace X, Y, and Z, and you'll be good. And that's the case with 99% of these E46 chassis, really. I have worked on this car more than I've ever worked on any car ever. I have learned so much. My confidence as a mechanic has just gone through the roof because this thing has needed work, but it has responded it's very easy to work on. It steps your confidence up so quickly where it's like, oh, I can fix that. Oh, I am going to fix that. And just a word of caution, if you can, these cars definitely do respond better to OEM or OE quality parts. If you want to rebuild everything on this car with, you know, part store pieces, you might be finding yourself repeating the same job more often.
Yes.
It just seems like the knockoff aftermarket parts just don't respond well to these cars.
It's so hit or miss.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, cue whatever meme I throw right here.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Sometimes it's great. Sometimes it's like, no, do not put that part on that car.
Yeah.
And my rule of thumb is the deeper you have to dig to get to that thing, the more spend more money on that.
Yeah.
You know,
you don't want to go back.
You don't want to, because the way these cars are set up, it's very layered. So like, there's you take off stuff to get to other stuff, and it's not hard. Everything makes sense. It's like Legos, but it is time consuming. So you don't want to go back to the deeper stuff. So spend the money when you're like opening stuff up and or underneath 3 other layers of things, and that
Yes.
like that would be my rule of thumb, my one piece of advice for that. They are, like, as we've said, they're beautiful. They drive fantastically. I don't know, I think I talked about how well this thing drives.
Handling's okay.
Yeah. Whoa. Yeah. These cars are normally balanced, have 50-50 weight distribution. It's slightly off on this because of the all-wheel drive system, but they geared the transfer case in a way to distribute torque in a manner that mimics a 50-50 weight distribution. So this car's, even this one, feels really good. Yeah. And then in the winter time, you know, if you use all seasons on it or put some snow tires on it in the winter, then all of a sudden you have like all this confidence of 4-wheel traction that, you know, that you wouldn't have with with a rear-wheel drive. But yeah, we went snowboarding all winter in this car
with all seasons,
and not great all seasons, with pretty cheap all seasons.
Yeah, Kumos. So
yeah,
they're not Ling Longs and
yes,
Hyperpods.
That's true.
But it worked.
Yeah,
it did a really good job.
I was extremely impressed with it. Like, so it is nice. I would not shy away from the XI if you're like, I want a 330, but I only see an XI, you know. But if it has the manual and you're willing to just address the front CV axles in a way that you don't have to think about them for a long time, by all means, like, don't worry about that. This is for sure a driver's car. It's a driving machine, and I feel like you get out of it what you put into it. And if you understand what you're going into when you pick one up, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised by how good this is. Yeah.
And I believe non-M3 and 330s are relatively cheap still, since there's so many of them, like a 325, 328.
Yes.
They're pretty affordable.
These things have aged like wine for sure. Like, yeah, they have so much presence, you know, they got in the modern world. They're light compared to everything else out there. This is a pretty small car, compared to modern things. This is smaller than a modern Honda Civic. You know, like, it's, you know, it just feels like a nice tight package. And I'm like, I have very complicated feelings about it.
Yes. Cool when they're cool, and they're a headache when they're not cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is an emotional roller coaster owning these things. So
like, they give me the vibe of working on a 70s car. Like, there's just always some tweaking that needs to be done.
Yeah.
Like, there's always something.
Yeah, there's always something. Yeah. These cars are tinker's dream.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, if you want to be under the hood every weekend, if you just want a little project, this thing will always have a little project for you.
Always has a chore list.
Always has a chore list. Always has a bunch of side quests, and sometimes it has some critical path stuff. But for the most part, you understand why they coined the ultimate driving machine, because like there's no car that has made me feel the way this car makes me feel, which is just weird, because like, yeah, as much as it's been mean to me, and maybe, you know, I'm like, I gotta be under there again, oh my god, I've never like just left my house to go like sit in the driveway and just stare at it. Like, it's just
But if you are interested in seeing what our thoughts are on a JDM sports car, check out this video below, because we also have a 350Z, and I think we kind of have a different opinion on that car.
Yeah, I think so.
And it's about the same age.
Yes, that's true. They're very close. Yeah. So yeah, please check that out, and yeah, please let us know what you think. You know, like, did you click this because you're curious? Did you click this because you're looking for other BMW people? Like, did you click this at all? Did you not click this? Like, is this an accident?
Do you care?
Yeah.
Do you like us?
Is anybody out there?
Are you mad?
Does anybody like the BMW stuff? Are you mad at us?
Yeah.
But let us know. Like, yeah, we the community has been so cool in the comments. We love getting to talk to you guys and get to know you guys. Please consider subscribing especially if you made it this far and can handle us talking like this. We just like to, this is a kind of a hangout, talk about the car, but there is some we like to goof around a lot in the garage too, so you might like some of our other stuff. So please like, subscribe, share, comment, and I think we'll talk to you guys in the next one.
See you in the next one.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Peace.